If you haven't seen this dress on Instagram, it means you live under a beautiful sheltered rock. And I envy you. For those of us who are online, we cannot escape the Damson Madder Becca Midi Dress, especially the tropical business in yellow. It's a Damson Madder dress, which I'm a big fan over here. I think their pieces are very well thought. It's usually very bubbly but hugging. I feel like it's never too much of anything, which there's a balance there that I feel like is very hard to reach. I have recently been given these sheets, which they're not really sheets. I think this is a table runner. I'm kind of uncertain about what this was used for, but ever since I saw this fabric, I knew that I wanted it to be the Becca Midi dress. I'm slightly scared that I might fail miserably and ruin this fabric that I enjoy. So I'm gonna make a toile first. Design-wise, here's what I'm seeing. I see a normal base pattern and they've made it wider to allow for the shirring. I see small loops on the sleeve and on the upper part of the dress, and the way that they've made the sleeves attachable is simply by tying those two things together in a bow. The sleeves are finished with bias tape, whilst the dress is actually just hemmed. And then I see that the upper part of the dress and the lower part of the dress are two separate pieces, which is quite common with complex designs. The skirt portion is also extra wide because it is also gathered at the waist. Again, these are just my observations, so if I made a mistake, let me know in the comments. Here's the plan. I'm starting with a normal base pattern, and what I'm doing is adding the width right at the center point, so basically at the fold line. So I've taken this measurement from here to here, and I multiplied that measurement by 1.5, and the result is the width that I want. In the past, I've done the same, but I added the extra width on the sides, and the results that I got were mixed. I'm trying to see if this method is better, because I've seen other people do this. Yeah, let's see how it goes. We've recently been talking about fear in the comment section, and honestly I'm so glad that we are talking about fear in regards to sewing. I think sewing is a very perfectionist-prone hobby. It demands precision, it demands attention to detail, it demands a lot of patience, so I understand why. And I think a great solution to that is making toiles. Somebody suggested that to me in the comments. They were like, hey, if you're afraid of messing up, make a toile first. So yeah. That's my advice given by someone in the comments. So don't thank me, thank them. I have just drawn my lines on the fabric to make sure that they come out straight. I was thinking about doing the assembly before doing the shirring, but then I checked on the picture and their lines don't line up perfectly, which means that they first did the shirring before they did the assembly. So I'm just gonna do the same. But I'm pretty sure that it could go either way. I've just finished the back. Shirring takes a lot of time, and I'm not even doing the same amount of shirring they're doing. They have 26 lines of shirring. I've done 10 less, so roughly 16. I'm probably gonna have to add a couple more here, so 18 total. But yeah, this takes a lot of time. I also forgot to mention that there is going to be a zipper in the back. Honestly, I just couldn't bother for a toile. But yeah, I don't think I'm gonna have too much trouble with the zipper. Hopefully that sentence doesn't come back and bite me in the bum. Hopefully not. But yeah, so far so good. I think the worst part about this dress is most likely going to be the hemming, and I'm wondering if I should hem before. I haven't seen anybody hem before, so probably no. front and my back. It's time to assemble. However, I saw online that if you can, you should take 2 pieces of elastic and make a knot, and like that's gonna prevent the elastic from moving. I'm gonna do it just in a couple of elastics because honestly this is just a toile and I'm already making a toile, so I'm showing some, you know, some willingness. Yeah, all right. I don't know how much of it, like how much I should pull. I feel like I'm pulling a bit too much. Anyways, I just made a knot. Pretty simple. Okay. Should I do it on the other side? I should do it on the other side. Just a couple. All right. A couple, meaning 1. Okay, done. Let's assemble. This is how it looks so far. Size-wise, no issue whatsoever. That is my size. I can get in, I can get out. I don't even think I need a zipper. However, since it's a dress, I think it's best it has a zipper. So I am going to install a zipper on the dress. There's one thing that's bugging me, and it's the fact that I think I'm gonna have trouble hemming this. I'm gonna go ahead and try. And if I ever feel like it's too hard, I might add bias tape because the sleeve has bias tape, so I don't think it would be too different of a design if it had bias tape. But I'm gonna try to hem this first, just to see how it goes. I did notice that the lines of shirring on the original dress are kind of tilted down, so I think I'll try to fix that on the dress. But apart from that, I'm even considering working on this as if it's not a toile. Like I suspected, this is very hard to hem. This is how the neck has turned out, and I really dislike it. It's even worse on the back. This is not my first rodeo shirring, so I knew that I was gonna struggle with this part. I have since looked at the picture again, and I feel like the shirring lines are strategically placed. If there's an excess fabric, it's gonna ruffle, so the shirring line needs to be as close to the edge as possible. Now, I don't think I'm gonna correct this mistake on this. I'd rather just keep this in mind and do the right thing on the actual dress. So if you're doing this project, here are 2 things that you should keep in mind. The first one is the shirring should start right on the edge, and the second thing is the shirring should be as close to the edge as possible, horizontally speaking. So like vertically it's like this. Yeah, so vertically it should start on the edge, and horizontally it should be as close to the edge as possible so that there's no ruffling. I still haven't hemmed the armholes because I still have to make the small loops because I'm gonna place them right underneath when hemming. But yeah, I'm gonna keep going. Alright, time for the sleeve. It's the same pattern I've used over and over again. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna measure the armhole on the top, and then I'm gonna cut the bias tape with that same measurement and gather this and finish it with the bias, so the measurements should line up. At least that thought process makes sense to me, but we'll see. Oh, and I'm also going to do the loops, just like I did with the top. Sorry for the lighting, it's getting late. In fact, I'm going to stop for the day, but I still wanted to give you a little bit of an update on how things are going. This is a sleeve. I've attached it with makeshift ties. These are very large, so I will make my ties smaller. Apart from this, I think the sleeve is very close to the design. However, I think theirs is a bit more bubbly in the lower part, but I'm not mad about this. I think I'm still going to adjust the pattern to make it more bubbly, but yeah. Apart from that, I don't know why, but I forgot to make loops for the back. So for the dress, I'm gonna have to actually remember to make loops for the back. Other than that, my main concern is the neckline and the shoulders, because I don't know, I'm not a big fan. I think theirs is closer to the neck and this shoulder seam is wider. So I'm also gonna have to think about that and adjust my pattern. But in general, I think this is going rather well. Anyways, see you tomorrow. Good morning. Today we're going to include all of the adjustments on the pattern, and I have thought about this extensively, and I think I want to make a second toile. And the reason being that I don't feel confident enough to include these adjustments directly onto the new fabric. I feel like I'm not prepared yet, and making a second toile is going to make me feel better about this whole process, and I'm going to feel more confident and not go into it as fearful as I currently am. So yeah, that's what we're doing today. Alright, here are all the adjustments that I'm going to make. The first adjustment regards the shirring lines. So like I said, I made my shirring lines straight, and what I'm going to do is they're going to still be straight up until this point, and then I'm going to slightly slant them like this. I believe that's going to make a significant difference, especially when it comes to the hemming part. However, I don't want to put all my eggs in the same basket, so I am also going to alter the neckline. So for the neckline, I am going to bring it slightly higher, and I'm also going to make this shoulder seam wider. I think these 3 adjustments are going to help me get closer to the design that I'm looking for, but I'm not entirely sure if I should also alter this armhole. For now, these are the adjustments that I'm going to include into this second toile, and I don't know. I just drew my lines, and I also separated the back piece in 2 pieces because I was like, you know what, if I'm making a second toile, I might as well get some experience with the zipper. I'm going to do the shirring now, which I'm not sure if I should film that because I feel like this is a lot of shirring content. I mean, I do like to see the shirring thing happening. There are already things that I do prefer in the former version than this version. However, I'm just going to keep moving forward and try to keep what I liked from version number 1 and add the things that are working in version number 2. The zipper is somewhat tricky, not too much, but somewhat. I think that I just am going to need to take my time with this dress, which is fine. I'm normally very patient. I have become more impatient because of the whole filming situation, the fact that I need to get my shots and I need to edit and all of that. So that has made me more impatient, but I am going to take my time with the dress. I'm not taking my time with the toile, but it's okay. I feel like it's okay. One thing that I read online is that when shirring, you're gonna want to iron because that's gonna stabilize the fabric. So I'm gonna try to do that and try hemming and see if that makes a difference. I also forgot to mention that I am planning to make a toile of the skirt as well. I normally wouldn't, but I'm very limited on fabric. I have a width of 65 centimeters, so I need to be smart about this. Hello again, friends. The hemming is not going according to plan. So I first tried ironing and hem normally, did not work. And then I tried using bias tape because I thought it could give it a bit more structure. Does not work. I have been trying to find solutions and I have two things I think I could do. The first one is I could hem before the shirring, which I thought about making a mini toile perhaps up until here and like try that first on other fabric. And then the second option is doing stay stitching, I believe it's called. Basically, what I think it means is you kind of do a normal line and you gently pull as if you were gathering. And what it does, it just helps the neck or the armhole stay in the shape you want it to stay. I did try stay stitching and it worked the one time that I used the technique, but it wasn't on a project where shirring was involved. So I think I'm going to try that first, just because I am not too confident about the hemming before shirring, but I might be wrong. So yeah, I'm going to undo whatever I did, do the stay stitching, and try hemming. Done the stay stitching. It seems like it's helping, but I think the main thing that I'm gonna have to be careful about is the placement of the shirring lines, because I've tried so many things and nothing seems to quite help much. I mean, nothing seems to be like the solution for it. So I think that actually the main issue is the placement of the shirring lines, which I have checked the pictures, and it seems like they have another pair of shirring lines between this one and this one. So here, one in the middle, which makes sense. I'm kind of disappointed that I'm not entirely satisfied with this toile. The last thing I'm going to do today is the skirt portion, because I still want to experiment with that and see if I'm going to have enough fabric for what I'm going for. Yeah. So let's do the skirt. I have attached the skirt portion into the first toile because I wanted to see just how flowy of a skirt this was going to be, and I'm okay with this. This means that I can make the dress out of my table runner, which is great news. I made the skirt portion out of a square that was 65 by 65 centimeters, and I've just gathered this upper part and attached it. This is just hand sewed because, you know, it's a toile. But in the actual dress, this is going to be hemmed and the skirt is going to be attached on that hemline. I'm still not completely satisfied with the neckline of the second toile. In fact, I think I like this one better, but the shoulders are too thin. I think I like this one better for the sole reason that the shirring was done correctly, whilst on the second toile I was just eyeballing the whole thing, which was a massive mistake. I have a tendency to want to do toiles very quickly because I want to focus on that part that I'm struggling with. In this scenario, I was struggling with the neckline, so I was just rushing through the whole shirring process to get to the neckline, but plot twist, it's all connected. So I'm going to keep experimenting off camera with the neckline, with the shirring, and I'm going to see you next week, where I'll share with you all of the advice, all of the ins and outs, I'm gonna make an in-depth tutorial on how to make this dress. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. If you want support, consider liking the video, leaving a comment, subscribing. It does mean a lot. I post every week, usually on Thursdays. See ya!